Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Hi, I'm Kirsty, and I just want to give you a quick orientation um, for to on utilizing Zoom to teach your classes for Vamonos NOLA. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being part of the team, for coming together and helping us bring our classes to kids who are stuck inside right now. So I just really appreciate this. Let's see, I'm going to do my best to go make it quick and cover what you need to know to be able to maximize Zoom for your classes. And I think just to say, give yourself some space to learn it and patience, because even though I've watched tutorials and I've been using it, it's changing right now a lot because so many people are using it. So a feature that I've just learned to use may change. So give yourself some patience and time to get to know the program. It's not difficult, but there are little tweaks that make things easier to teach and that are changing ongoingly. So let's get started. I think the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen with you. So this is something that you're going to need to do also. When you share screens, you'll see a bar that pops up and you share the screen with the green button that says share screen at the bottom. You'll see an annotate button. I'm going to go ahead and use the spotlighting tool from the annotate button so that I can point out some things for you. So like I said, I just shared screen here. The things that are important as you're teaching are to make sure that your audio and your video are on. You probably already know how to do that. I'm always going to activate the chat box and draw it on over here. Keep it open over here, as along with managing participants. So I kind of keep the managing participants over here and the chat box over to the side, because over here right now it's just me in here, but this is where you'll be able to see who else is in the chat with you. So if it's a co-host or the participants, and you can always mute people here, and you can't see that because I only have one person here, but you can mute from over here also and see where they are. If they unmute, they should bubble up to the top so that you can see who is unmuted. One of the things that you'll be using quite a bit is mute all. It's not as rude as it sounds. Even just a little bit of background noise can interfere the sound for everybody. So it's just a best practice to keep everybody on mute. When you mute everybody, you'll get a sign that asks if you want them to be able to unmute yourself. If you have, mostly you'll say yes to that, but there are times where you have some kids that want to play around with the buttons, in which you would just say no to that. A thing that we've found that they like to do is they like to hit mute on and off this so that they found they're being glitchy. I kept myself on mute. Glitchy. They want to sound glitchy. The thing that we fight all day long. They're like, let's do this on purpose. So speaking of that, one of the things, like, there is Zoom Classroom Management, and you'll be able to share your screen, and you can share a whiteboard, which is really fun to do, or you can, pull up an I Spy or something like that, which we've done. That's really fun. I might actually just pause for a second. Okay, so one of the things that I want to show you with the sharing button are these annotation tools. Oh, like I was saying, that you could share your screen to help people, to show people how to use their mute buttons, or point over here to where they can turn on and off their camera, that sort of thing. But you can also use it to select another screen, another page that perhaps that you've prepared in advance. So for example, you should be able to see my I Spy. This is a fun game that we've played with the kids. They seem to really like it. Veo en realidad, no? But here you would take and let them choose their style, size of pen, and their color. And then you could say, todos pintan en su color, todas las mariquitas. And then they have to select their draw tool, and they color all the mariquitas like this, right? But what's going to happen is the kids go and they draw all over your page like this. So there is, to come back over to this screen, let me stop that share and share with you back over here. So we're back on this, so this annotate button. So what I did was I selected the width of the tool and the color, of course, all of those formatting tools, but you have to come back over here to draw to be able to utilize that as instead of the pointer, right? And so what happens is that the kids love it, right? And they go and they draw all over your screen, and you think, it doesn't feel very respectful. So you come over here to clear all drawings, and it's gone. But what keeps them from drawing all over everything? Oh, you can also just clear your, you can clear all the drawings, or you can clear just theirs or just yours, however you want to do that, depending on the situation. But what's really important is, see these little 3 dots over here? You want to disable participants annotation. And let me tell you from experience, you just want to disable the annotation anytime you're not wanting them to draw. So if you're singing a song, you don't want them doodling, so you have to turn off annotation, because once they find it, they just have a blast with it. You know, there are these little stamps that are so cute, and you can put stamps everywhere, which it is really fun. See? But you do want to be able to disable annotation, which is here. So again, I'm going to clear all the drawings, and I'm going to show you where to annotate, to allow and disable participations. And then I always show the annotator so that you know who's doing what. Important to know. Also, you can have them use this text button, is really great, because you can have them say something right on the screen or on the work that you're doing. And so it's a handy tool. So you'll find a lot of think a lot of ways to use the annotation tools. But the most important is, between activities, go ahead and disable annotation. So back to more behavior management for using the tools. One of the things that you can do is rename yourself. And as the host, you can rename, yourself. And you can put señora, señorita, and the kids do it also. But they put whatever name they feel like being silly and funny and getting attention. It's really cute. So I kind of let them have, like, it's kind of like, I think about it as like getting the sillies out, right? Let them draw, let them stamp, let them change their names, and then mute and unmute and play glitchy or whatever. And then after that, disable all of those features. And you can do that with wherever you see 3 buttons is where you should look. So that also includes the chat. So you have the option to chat with everybody, to chat with one person individually, back and forth. So obviously you don't want them chatting amongst themselves if you're giving the lesson, unless that's part of a game or the activity that you're doing, in which case fine. But you want to have control of that. So you come over here to the 3 little puntitos, and you decide, are you going to have no one chat? Are you going to have the host only chat, that the participants can chat with just you? Which that's good, so that it can say to you, I can't find this, the ones that don't want to say anything on screen. Everyone publicly, and everyone publicly and privately. So those are the options that you get to choose for the chat. So those are things that you want to make yourself familiar with. The renaming feature, I use also that feature if I want to break people into groups, which we'll get into in a second. I can put, as they come in, I put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And so next to their name is a number, so that if we need to break into groups, odds and evens or whatever, then you have a way of already having that labeled. So it's a time-saving tool. Also over here under security, you should still be able to see my screen. You can allow participants to share their screen, which oftentimes I just go ahead and straight up disable that, because I often don't see when their screen is shared. A lot of my tools come down here in the taskbar, like minimized, and I don't notice that they're sharing. I think that depending on the settings that you have set for Zoom, you'll want to experiment with that a little bit. Will depend where you see, but I don't know if you can tell that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different bubbles available to click on. So, and the sharing screen, unless you have an activity, they're sharing the screen will only disrupt your lesson. So go ahead and under security, take off participants are able to screen share. And so this is the same thing. They can chat, they can rename themselves, they can annotate on shared content. So this is where you can just turn it all off altogether if you need to, but you can also do that under more and turn it on and off here. Up at the top, disable participant annotation, and in the actual chat box, you can do that along with your muting. So I wanted to show one other thing, that's the chat, and the participants. Here, I haven't used this tools a whole lot, but you can. This is nonverbal communication. So if they click yes, if you ask a question, they click yes, they're going to get in the participants list over here, you're going to get a little checkbox or no, and they can tell you, oh, can you go slower? You can go faster, please. You can let them know that. They also will have a raised hand feature, which is different from reactions. We have reactions also, but there is a feature where they can raise your hand to let you know without speaking that they're trying to ask you a question, and then you go over and lower their hands. So those are kind of the basic features of the tools that you can use. If you have a large group and somebody who's assisting you, you can use the breakout rooms. So over here, you have the breakout rooms, super easy to use. You turn them into set up 2 rooms. You would probably manually assign your group. So if you're noticing that you have 5-year-olds and then 8-year-olds or something like that, you can divide them by age, or you can divide them by activity, however you want to do that. So then you click create a room. You can rename your breakout room. And so I might name mine Miss Nancy or Señorita Nancy, Señora Nancy. And then the other one would be my breakout room. So Señora Kirsty. And then I go and I assign whoever I want to put in that room, and I can move them from room to room here also. None of this, they don't start moving rooms until you click open room, okay, which I can't do because I don't have anybody to assign to a room here. But you can add as many rooms as you need, and it has some options. I don't move them into the rooms automatically because I want to see who's going where. As the host, if somebody comes in late, it'll tell you that there's somebody waiting to be assigned. And then you go and you put them in the room that you want. As the host, you can jump back and forth from room to room, along with you can send a broadcast. I think that it's not letting me show that right now since I don't have it, a breakout room open. But it's basically a message that sends to both groups, all 3 groups. We'll be wrapping it up, and you have 5 more minutes and we'll be wrapping it up, something like that. So this is a great feature, and you can jump back and forth if you're somebody who's monitoring, but it's kind of like leaving the kids unattended in a classroom. You don't really want to do that. I did learn the hard way that if you're sharing a screen, like I was sharing the I Spy screen and letting them paint, letting them color on the I Spy while I jumped into the other room, my screen share went with me. So I wasn't able to like leave them with an activity on the screen while I jumped into another breakout room to check. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right. Let me think. I think that is kind of, I'm going to stop the sharing. I think that covers it pretty much. I showed you the reactions. You'll want to record all your videos and you'll record them to the cloud. Oh, you know what I didn't show you that's pretty cool is the polls. So over here, you have these polls. So you set the polls up in advance, but it's kind of neat. So you can use it like an icebreaker if you want, or a quiz type thing for a check, really more like just, I should say, check for understanding. But so that you would launch the poll, they would make their selections, and then you can share the results or export them. So it's kind of a cool little fun feature there that you have. And in settings is where you launch a poll. You can add to the poll by hitting edit here, and it takes you to the screen where the polls are established, and you can set up a new poll. So yeah, that's something that you can play around with. Okay, this is super brief. Well, I was hoping for it to be super brief, to give you just kind of the basics. Please send questions, ask me whatever you need, but this should kind of get you set up before we start interacting with the kids. So I'm excited. Again, thanks so much. Muchísimas gracias por estar y por participar y bueno, contribuir a los chicos de Vámonos Nola. Bueno, nos vemos pronto. Chao.